room sleeping on their couch. You know you done did really mess up when you wake up in somebody's room sleeping on their couch. You have stolen their blanket and their pillow. And you know you messed up when it's my goddamn room, Boozy. I was not expecting to see your fat, dumb, happy ass curled up under. I thought you were a pile of twigs. I kicked him a few times, he made lawyer noises, that's a thing, and then I went to bed.
Wait, does that just mean he objected?
I objected all over his room.
Twice in the bathroom.
You have a nice shower.
I know. By the way, Boozy, where were your pants this morning?
Under your bed.
Boozy, where did you put your pants last night?
I did not take them off.
And no one gets to know that story. Coming to the stage right now, before we finish introductions, let's give it up for our other panelist, Lord Pandas! Thank you, Pandas. And Des, I'm going to hand you this microphone if you would tell them who you are and what you have done after you put down that delicious...
Yes, Pandas, tell the people what you've done.
What did you...
I thought I wasn't allowed to admit guilt in front of a lawyer.
Welcome to the Des shaming panel.
Des shaving panel? Is that what I heard?
It's convention war stories, and you've been a con chair for a very long time. This is shame, yes.
Oh, shame. I thought you said shave. I'm like, I mean, I could a little bit, but...
$50 and we shave Pandas on stage.
100! Very funny, very cannot do that. Our insurance writer has contacted me.
Specifically about shaving Pandas.
Funny thing is, we did that at Anthrocon.
Oh, you guys are going to hear the shaming story now. Go!
Pandas, tell the people who you are and what you do.
My name is Pandez. If you don't know me, I was con chair for a total of 6 years at Indy FurCon. Held various board positions, helped form the convention. I was vice chair at Motor City FurCon for several years. Now I kind of just show up and help with panels, but I've seen things. And now I get to talk about them.
To my left, Sue.
Hello. Okay, good. This one works. Yes. Take the crappy one away. Hi, I am Sue Deer, Susan Deer. Sue the Deer.
Such a sweet.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. I used to be programming director for Anthrocon back in the early days, starting somewhere around 2000 and going to 2004 or 5, something like that. Back in the early days. I've also been a comic writer and illustrator for A Domain of Our Own and Never Never, and a couple other little ones and twosy things here and there. And that's me.
You should totally go check those out. Let's hear it for Sue.
Oh, before I forget, Anthrocon roped me in again. This time I'm leading up the art and branding department. It is proof that you cannot get away.
Wait, art and branding? They're gonna give you a metal poker?
Shit, yeah!
Finally, Sue has somehow become more deadly. Benny, please introduce yourself, my friend.
So somewhere back in 19, a friend of mine said, "Hey, we're gonna go help this new convention, and it will be fun."
Wasn't it fun?
It was Anthrocon in a town called Albany. And yeah, so I ended up on the board of that con, helped run registration for many years, put a lot of badges on everyone. It was really weird. When you run registration and you see everyone, people walk up, they're like, "Oh, hey, hi, how you doing?" And you're completely face blind. You've seen everyone at the con, and you're like, that face is familiar. I don't know. But anyway, helped run that con. I got, you can't get away. I'm director of programming at First Squared because there was someone.
Thank you, Benny.
You're welcome. But yeah, I've seen things, to quote Pandas.
All right, well, we already talked about the haircut, so one of you would like to tell that wonderful occurrence?
Okay.
Hit it.
Our con director, who amongst many other things would occasionally say stuff, that never happens.
Never.
At one point said if we raised what would have been then a very spectacular amount of money, I believe it was 10 grand, wasn't it? 15. 15? Thank you very much. If we raised this astronomical amount of money, and by that I mean it, your average take for charity was a grand. He would shave his head at closing ceremonies. Now, we thought this was a joke, and then money started coming in. And coming in. And coming in. And then someone showed him and says, "Hi, I'm a licensed barber in the counties of Philadelphia, Montgomery County, and all of these other places. And I happen to have a kit in my car." Like, oh no. So we actually made it, and we made a big thing of doing closing ceremonies. There is video of Kage getting shaved at closing ceremonies. It is the most disturbing thing because he has this look of, I will murder the world. It's like just completely unhinged eyes, doing the it thing kind of thing. The actual horror about that when you talk about running conventions or working for conventions is this. Most of the people who come at the door here are 20-ish years old, maybe a little older. They come in with a certain set amount of money, or nowadays, credit, which they will use throughout the convention. If you do any one thing too successfully, that is, if you do charity too good, the money has to come from somewhere. Your dealers suffer. And well, that year we had a fabulous charity donation. We almost didn't have any dealers the next year because all the money went into people wanting to see Kage shaved like a bear hedgehog, right? And so we've learned now, and the same thing will happen. Like if tomorrow you can magically double the size of the dealer's room and not your convention change, they'd get half as much money. Your charity would suffer, the dealers would suffer. So it's this weird background balancing act. So that was like, can we get that to AV?
Does AV have a mobile camera right now that they can bring up there?
Or can we send you a telegram, a photo?
AV with a telegram, come up here while we continue to tell the story.
Well,
Thank you.
that story's kind of wrapping. I can tell an older story.
I have an idea though.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we raised that much money by getting him to shave his head, how much money do you think we could raise by getting him to wear different wigs?
Are we? Hold on. Can we get Kage to wear a Dolly Parton wig?
I bet I could.
Your firm's gotten to wear a wig.
Buy it first. I bet I could.
Wait, what wig did Eurofurence get Uncle Kage to wear?
Okay, for Eurofurence's 25th,
Yeah.
they did a thing that was like time warp, and this was brilliant. They always do big set pieces in their convention with a theme. They always do big stage production. They keep all of those. And so for their time warp, it was like at the con, time was breaking down. And so they had different areas that were like roped off. It was like part of 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and they had all kinds of stuff. Their opening ceremonies, they did this beautifully. They walked out on stage to say, welcome to opening ceremonies, and they cut the lights as if all of AV died, right? And then there was static, and it came back up, and goddamn it, Kage was there in a wig they had found for him that looked like his younger hair. And he did the announcement, I'm so glad that AnthroCon, we've moved to the Adams Right, blah, 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 just like it was back in time. And they did this like 2 or 3 times in the opening ceremonies of cutting for each of them. It's one of the most brilliant opening ceremonies I've ever seen. They put so much effort into it, it's amazing.
It's one of those things we like to tell you guys. I'm so glad that you guys chose First Square, and I hope I see you every year here. But don't forget, these things not only happen all over the country, but all over the world. I could not have been more blown away by Brazil Fur Fest. The convention down in Mexico is an hour away from Tequila, Mexico. I don't remember the con, but I love the trip. Every place that you go to is a little different. Every con feels a little different. I really, really hope you guys get to experience them. And that should have just stalled enough that we can show the picture.
This is actually a drawing that was done after the fact.
We'll
I
see.
did this.
Okay, I hope you realize right now we're creating a horror story for 80, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, he had a big smile on his face like, oh, this is gonna be great. He's so proud of himself. They should be. They'd be stellar.
AV horror stories are 50%, oh my god, we never got to eat, and 50%, how the hell do we deal with the gain on alkalized microphone?
Yeah.
True. Absolutely true.
It's fun because you realize when you get alkalized, Mike, because no one can hear you.
You jump from doing both right now, eating a sandwich and adjusting your game.
There it is.
It's adorable, right?
Right.
So cute.
Totally cute. Totally cute.
The other hard part is Alkali just not
Smash or pass?
using the microphone.
Nice.
Davey, I know you were talking to us, the monitors didn't catch that, so sorry.
Woo! Tech machine.
So smash or pass, woo? Woo! I think that's a woo.
I think those are all
I
who's,
think
just so
it
you know, Kage is like Santa. He knows you just booed him.
There's a disturbance in the force.
You have to be.
It's like, what just happened right now? What just happened?
Bye-bye. To be a con chair, you need to be aware of so many things. You need to be aware of what your attendees are doing. Kage is amazing at that. And you know who else is really good at it? Pandas. Hey, Pandas.
That's not true at all.
Oh, sure
Good on
it is.
you, babe.
You've never had a medical incident that should have not happened at that time during the year?
Okay, so I will tell that story, but to rebut your comment about paying attention to things, I found out about something that happened at IFC.
Hi.
Looks like a normal picture to me.
That's actually my baby photo.
That is utterly ridiculous.
So no, when you're...
There it is, oh my god.
Oh my God, it's Hawkeye! Somebody Photoshop in a bow and arrow, it's Hawkeye.
He looks like a Popeye villain.
Creepy baby he is, isn't he?
Okay, so you do try and pay attention to everything. However, I found out sometime around the time of COVID about something that happened 5 or 6 years earlier at IFC. To quote the staff member, "I'll never forget the two softball moms walking out of the swingers party in nothing but bras and panties, each carrying an empty fifth of New Amsterdam vodka, walking past me out into the courtyard and going for a swim in the fountain with the fire features. And my immediate reply was, this was 8 years ago, how am I just now hearing about this? So no, you're not always on top of things. However, I would like to say our safety team at most furry conventions, a lot of us use the door sign, and they are fantastic. And they help take care of an event. Now, who here knows what hypothermia is? It's when you get too cold, your core temperature drops. The opposite of that is hyperthermia, which is if you get too hot, you overheat. So we had an incidence of hypothermia at Indy FurCon in August, when the weather was 90-something degrees that morning. But somebody got too cold. You see, you have to be very careful. We have some wonderful outfits in this fandom, and some of them are big and fuzzy and covered with fur, and some of them are skin tight and made of... I'm assuming it was like Lycra or something like that. It was very, very tight. It was like a Lycra type outfit. And they'd been at the dance and they had been very hot and they went outside. Well, a storm had rolled through, all the humidity had dropped by form of rain, and they slipped in the wet grass, got completely covered with water, and their body temperature managed to drop like that, and they went into hypothermic shock. They were discovered very, very quickly because, of course, they're roaming everywhere, even keeping an eye on outside, and they were fine, but to get that call, we've got a case of hypothermia outside. We're not in Milwaukee in February, we're in Indianapolis in August. How did that happen? And they're like, we'll tell you later. But that's why you have to be very careful. Even something as simple as walking outside and getting too wet. Wait, no, I can't rephrase that any other way. You gotta be careful. You make sure you have someone with you, and if you're gonna dance for like 2 straight hours and then go outside and essentially have a cold shower thanks to Mother Nature, it can do things. So watch yourself. But that's why I love our safety team.
And I appreciate that. Yeah, he got hypothermia, but he took a shower. Boozy, I'm punishing you for looking at what I can only assume to be porn on your phone. I don't see any edits. Perfect picture. That's just after me and Boozy fight in the morning for who gets the last cup of coffee, get pissed off, make another pot of coffee, rinse and repeat. What were we at? 5 pots of coffee in one day? We are horrible for each other. Boozy, regale us with a tale.
Hi. You know the really shitty thing about being a lawyer?
What?
Everybody wants free shit. Especially cons. Which is why I now have an official Anthrocon email address. I have responded. I don't even respond to the emails. I have a copy paste. And do you know what it reads? This is not a legal issue. Would you like a list of things that are not legal issues? Wonderful. We have received an email from a German kid. He wants us to write a letter to immigration sponsoring him for the con. I am copying legal. Me. This is not a legal issue. P.S. Under no circumstances are we writing immigration letters. On Twitter, someone has complained about the length of the registration line. What should we do about it? I am copying legal. My response: this is not a legal issue. P.S. You are public relations. One of our applicants for staff has a criminal record.
Ooh.
Can we place them in registration? I am copying legal. My response: this is not a legal issue. P.S. You are HR. Anyhow, this one was 7 rays deep when they added me onto the chain. Anyhow, turns out we don't have a licensing agreement, but we already sent the shirts to the printer. My response: why was I not on the initial email? What licensing agreement? This is a legal issue. And the most recent one. I got an email from a department head that said, could you review this contract before we sign it? And I looked it over, and I responded with, the contract looks fine to me, but I am copying the chairman. I have a question. Who has signing authority here? The chairman's response was, I am the only person with signing authority, and my response was, why are you not reading the contracts? I would like to give you my Anthrocon email now. No, not the address, the account. I want to give it to you.
Oh man, I want to get told I can't do legal.
No one can do legal. Lawyers can't do legal. Have you not heard his responses?
They don't ask me to do legal.
I know.
They ask me to do everything but legal.
We tell you about it after we get
And
sued.
when there is shit that should be handled by legal, for some reason, Bambi the dipshit deer, not you,
Yeah.
from the fucking gaming room. Look, this is what happens.
Who's the dipshit now?
Smack.
See,
Nice salad.
here's the thing you have to understand. It can be difficult sometimes. Boozy has to deal with that because legal is a very complicated department. We have a few of those. There are a lot of pitfalls, and you don't really know what to do, but none of that compares to the fact that the fandom has been around for quite some time now. So the problems we have, we deal with. So I want to hear from someone who had the problem of, and I cannot describe you how big of a problem this is, Twitter didn't exist.
Oh, cons without social media. And you think, oh, it sounds like heaven.
Yes, I do.
Okay, how many people in here work with technology? Hands. Okay, I'm gonna give you some details on this. A person who I'm not going to out or anything else, they were sincere, decided to write the registration system for a large convention on the East Coast. They made a bunch of decisions. One of the decisions they made, by the way, was the first time the little hard badges were used in printers. And to do that, we bought a cheap, off the back of a truck, steam-powered printer. That was a decision that only had drivers published at the time for Windows ME. And they looked at that, so this is not a problem. I will write my own printer drivers.
Oh no!
And I will use the old-fashioned interface where you compile it into the Linux kernel directly, so you recompile the kernel every time you revise it. Oh. And they also thought, we really need to have a good, strong database, so I'll use the embedded version of Oracle. So for those of you who do not know technology, they are picking the most complicated fucking thing they could do. And they did not believe in backups or duplications. So, y'all talk about reg lines. In Philadelphia, we had a convention, and I have nothing against Ohio. Ohio is a beautiful state. I live there now. The end of the reg line should not be in it. All right? So we had a complete registration crash. We've had two of them. One was from this person. One I got the pleasure of handling, and no one noticed because backups. Freaking backups. This person did not realize that. Now, it's in a time before social media. And all I'm going to say, their backups took them down for a full day of a 3-day convention.
Oh no!
They asked me to kiss the mic.
Oh.
So, I'm going to hand that off now to the person who was running programming, which is my job here, oh God,
Yeah.
of what do you do when your entire convention is standing in line on Friday? Go.
Yeah. So we had an entire day of programming planned, none of which anyone could attend, let alone leave. I had to somehow find a way to not only schedule everything that was on Friday into the rest of the weekend, into slots that were already full, but also find a way to let the people running those panels know that this was happening, and if they were okay with that, without any sort of social media whatsoever. Yeah, that was me. Imagine that this device, the only thing it would do was send text messages, make phone calls, and not everyone had one. Maybe it took pictures, and it was a flip phone. And maybe the battery lasted 3 hours.
And the entire time, Reg is saying, we're up, it's gonna be just a minute, we're printing the badges live, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. So literally all of your senior staff is out in the line because people are waiting and it's Philadelphia and it's summer.
It's hot.
So we're bringing them water.
We are running
around and saying,
water.
it's gonna be a few minutes, it's gonna be a few minutes. And we did that for hours.
For hours. And in the meantime, any schedule changes, I had no way of letting people know immediately. So we did the low-tech thing. We got the biggest dry erase board we could find on wheels and wheeled that sucker out and drew a huge grid on it and started filling in what was going to be when. But because we kept getting rolling time frames, we're like, okay, we're going to be able to start things at 4. Nope, erase. Okay, we're gonna be able to start things at 5. And it's gonna look like this. Nope, erase. My arm, by the end of that con, I looked like Trogdor. I had the one beefy arm sticking out of my back.
I know how that continued.
But somehow we made it work, and eventually that person who was in charge of Reg moved along. Quote unquote.
So they started their own convention.
It was the first near fist fight at a board meeting. Notice I said first. How's it going over at Akali, Boozy?
Next week is the board meeting.
And the third fist fight.
Oh, the sweet summer child.
You mean my third fist fight?
You know, I can actually imagine you drop kicking a person and it's horrifying.
Myself and another person who some of you might know as Trigger had to hold her the hell back because the guy at one point said, well, you know, I just want to do them in real time and print them next year. We'll get it right.
It's too much work to do it before the con.
Preprint. Oh, and this is still a fight conventions are fighting, by the way, if you preprint the badges.
Really?
But
We don't have that issue at BasementCon.
No, we do not.
So you don't because you had a surplus of Anthrocon 1 year badges that we just scrawled over.
All the badges at BasementCon, this is not a lie. The attendee badges are old Anthrocon badges that were left over from like the early 2000s that Sue and Vinny found a box of and gave to us. We just cross out Anthrocon.
Really quick, I have a question for all of you. Who out there doesn't know what Basement Con is? Raise your hand.
Whoa,
Go for
boy,
it.
a new crowd.
Oh,
we are setting the bar lower than everyone else.
Yes, we have.
that's the idea.
So, several years ago, actually about 8 years ago now, yeah, I started a Twitter account called BasementCon. It was a gag account advertising itself as the world's worst furry convention, and we existed for the sole purpose of making fun of other conventions. To the extent, no lie, at one point a large Midwestern convention contacted us and asked us to please stop bullying them.
That was because First Squared social media and BasementCom social media were like, hey, you want to go over to TV?
Like, everybody has always assumed I am the person running that account. I don't even know the password.
No, you did. You forgot.
I said anymore. There are, at last count, 16 people with access to that account. I don't know who posts anything. When something goes up on it, it is not uncommon for the Telegram chat to just have me all in caps going, which one of you fuckers did it? So we used it today, and then somehow it became a real thing. It is held whenever we fucking feel like it, in a cabin in a secluded mountainous region of northwestern Pennsylvania. There is no internet. There are no phones. Your cell phone will not work in this location. And there is no television service. There is a television, there is a DVD player, and there are 2 DVDs. 2 DVDs.
There's
One is disc 2 of volume 2 of season 2 of Duck Dynasty. We don't know where the rest of it is. The other is Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. You clap. Here's the other thing. The guy who owns the lodge, by the way, we say it's a cabin, it is a lodge. It is a full-on skiing lodge that is family-owned and decrepit. He bought the cheapest DVD player for that lodge that he could find. The type that doesn't have buttons on it, so you have to use the remote. He lost the remote.
Oh no!
What do we do at Basement Con? We put Master and Commander in, and we watch the title screen for 2 hours.
That was movie night.
The music was good.
Music was great.
Anyhow, when Furfest asked us to stop bullying them, the exact words, by the way, and they were serious, they sent this with the Cabinet of Ministers. We don't do a board of directors, that's normal. The Cabinet of Ministers was gathered at a lake house on Lake Erie in the late fall when that happened. We were sitting around the table. We had been drinking wine, and we had been watching the Owl House. Yeah.
You guys know that.
And we had decided we loved the character of Hootie.
I think Sue yelled hoot hoot at me about 20 times a day after we saw that show.
So we made a decision that whenever Basement Con social media was making fun of that particular convention, we would no longer mention them by name, but we would end every communication with hoot hoot. And then we didn't tell them until we got on stage once and told them that with some of their directors obviously in the audience, and they looked pissed. I don't think I gave them the best description of the lodge. The directions to the lodge from the lodge owner are, and I quote, "You cannot use MapQuest. Do not use Apple Maps, it will not bring you here. The only road that leads to it is a dirt logging road through the woods. You cross from Pennsylvania into New York and back. There is no way there without going through New York at some point in time.
Why?
You don't know. You pull up, you go into the lodge, there is a murder wall. It is a wall of axes. You are thinking, oh, Cracker Barrel style, old farm tools. We thought that too. Then we picked one up and realized, no, it has an edge to it. Somebody has been sharpening the axes on the walls. There's a box of flesh. Don't know, not labeled, just there. Upstairs are the bedrooms. The bedrooms are all like 4 or 5 people to a room, except for the guest of honor suite. That one has had exposed wiring dangling from the ceiling for about 5 years now. That's where we put Kage when he came. The bathrooms in those rooms, obviously an afterthought. They obviously just stuck a toilet and a shower stall in a closet. You cannot sit on the toilet without having one leg in the shower and the other leg out the door. It makes for very awkward pooping because, once again, there have to be more than 5 people in each room to fit everyone in the lodge. The first time we went, we showed up, the guy who owned the place gave us a tour.
Murder wall.
That's the murder wall. The guy who owned the place gave us a tour, gave us the history, said his grandfather had built it as a snowmobiling lodge in the style of the Swiss ski lodges of his youth.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. He then gave us a tour of the place, showed us how everything worked, and said, and I quote, "Okay, here are some things you need to know. If you go outside and you take a right and walk about a mile," yeah, that's one of the rooms, "and walk about a mile, you will come to a lake. Do not swim in the lake, you will drown. Not you may drown, you will drown. If you go to the left and walk about a mile, you're going to come to a cow pasture. This time of year, only the milk cows are in it, and they're pretty friendly. But don't touch the fence. It's an electric fence." And then he got a faraway look in his eyes and said, "Packs a hell of a punch." I looked at Alkali, I said, "Do you think he touched the fence?" And Alkali went, "He definitely touched the fence." At one point he said, "The well out back, the cover ain't secured on it. Don't go near the well."
What well?
Oh well. What well?
And my personal favorite, the freezer is full of meat. It is not your meat. We went, and it was wonderful, by the way. It was great. I was outside the first night stoking the fire, because there's 2 fire pits. There's a huge bonfire pit in the back of the land, then there's a little one right by the lodge. And that's the one that we just kept a fire going in all weekend. And I'm sitting outside, I'm by that, and I turn around, and there are 30 people standing outside the door of the lodge putting something in a flower bed. I say, "What is that?" And they froze. And they go, "Nothing." And I go, "No, that is something. What is it?" And I hear one of them in the back say, "QM, that is my spouse. QM told us we couldn't tell you." My spouse knows me very well. My spouse knows there is one thing you cannot tell me you have seen in an area. And I said, "Where did you find the snake?" "In the shower." There was.
There's our little baby.
There were bees. We don't know where they came from. They were just there. We would capture them and move them outside and turn around, and there would be more bees. They would never increase in number, though, until we took one outside. We had, like, what's that? Yeah. It's a nightmare. The second year, like that, or not the second year, it was the third, fourth year, we invited Kage out.
Can you remind us? Because we don't do things like other cons. On purpose. How did we greet Kage?
Kage pulled up in the darkness, having driven down a logging road with Ronnie. They get out of the car. We were all standing outside in the darkness under the single bare bulb that the lodge has outside, staring at the car as it pulled across the grass field. The car doors opened, they climbed out, And we yelled, "You're here!" and ran forward to pick Ronnie up on our shoulders and carry him into the lodge. He had kindly to carry his own shit inside.
And close the door.
We shut, he's like, where is my room? We took him up to his room. He goes, "Those are exposed wires." I'm going, "Yeah, I wouldn't get up too quick in the morning." What does that door lead to in the closet? We're not sure, but we looked under it a year or two ago, and it's very obviously someone's apartment. But we're not sure that anybody else lives here. The best part is this place advertises. In the first year, we were sitting down for breakfast on Sunday because Basement Con, unlike First Square, still does free breakfast. So we're sitting down for breakfast on Sunday, and a Cadillac Escalade with New York plates pulls up. And a blonde woman in high heels and designer clothing climbs out, looks around, and walks into the lodge. Now, we have seen this occur outside the window. We are all very curious as to what is about to happen. She walks in, she looks around, and she goes, "Is the chef here?" And we go, "Well, Benny and Sue are in the kitchen." And then she goes, well, could somebody please show me the rooms?" And we go, "No. We're using it right now." And she goes, "Well, I never." Turns around, climbs into the Escalade, and drives off. Now, there's a deer head on the wall of the lodge. And we had taken someone's fursuit head and put it over the deer head. It was a dragon. So this woman walked in, looked around, looked at a group of furries in their pajamas with a lifeless fursuit head staring down from the wall, and her immediate reaction was, "Would someone please take me upstairs alone in this secluded lodge?"
Karens in the wild don't have a lot of self-preservation.
She left, and I sat there and went, "Holy shit, we're a real con. We got our first Karen." I'm convinced to this day that she woke up, like just set bolt up. I went, "There's a furry convention happening somewhere," and got in the car to go piss us off. We helped the guy steal a couch. Like, I'm pretty sure we helped him steal a couch. Benny, you tell this.
Okay, furries are just helpful. And so, like, someone shows up and says, "Oh, the guy that owns this place said, hey, I could pick up this couch." And we're like, "Okay." And they're like, "Can you help me load it?" And so it's only about halfway out the door while you're holding a couch with 2 or 3 other people. They're like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, they put it in the guy's trailer. He drove off. We were waiting, and somebody, I forget who, said, "I think we just helped that man commit a burglary."
Yeah, there's that thought of, like, you're halfway through with it, and you're like, well, it would be more awkward to reverse this, wouldn't it? So we might as well just complete the act.
Just go.
Yeah, okay.
And to tell you the caliber of this place, we accidentally took the Google Chrome with us when we left that year. Don't know why they had a Google Chrome. Once again, no internet. It was just there. We took the Google Chrome with us by accident. When we got back, Alkali contacted the guy and said, "Oh, hey." Well, no, actually what happened was we were in the chat and somebody said, "Oh, whose Google Chrome is this?" And so everybody said no, and then I saw it in all in caps, wrote in the chat, "My God, did we steal his Chrome?" Alkali called the guy and said, "Hey, how can I mail this back to you? We took it accidentally." And the guy goes, "No one's ever sent it back before." To this day, we don't know if we helped steal the couch because he never mentioned it. The last time we were there, we ran out of firewood. We called him because he said, "Oh, I'll give you firewood." He came out with a truckload of firewood, dropped it off, then parked on the other side of the field for 4 solid hours, just sitting in the truck and staring at us. I love this fucking place.
I don't want to say the place is haunted, but we were doing all the cooking and everything, and I love it because on the way out, some folks picked up food from farmer stands, and we were making stuff. And so someone picked up a big bag of fresh corn. And so we're sitting there, and it's like, okay, we're gonna make dinner, blah, blah, blah. We put a line up in the kitchen, and I love Dragor to death. But, okay, shock the corn, we're going through it. Dragor cut themselves with corn.
And became the first dumb shuck of the weekend.
Yeah.
The second dumb shuck was Kage, who then had it squirt right in his eye.
It was evil corn. Here, you can close it.
Before that, the kitchen. The kitchen
Love
itself
that
was
kitchen.
awesome, right?
I love that kitchen.
Everything was stellar about this kitchen. Everything you'd want in a restaurant kitchen had the big flat griddle. It's fucking amazing to cook on. It had the dishwasher that you just load up, pull the thing down, and stuff was clean.
Heaven.
However, the work table, which was big, heavy steel, had storage in it and everything, had this wonderful load-bearing tomato can. We left a note that said, "We didn't do this."
What is great is after the care, we were standing there one night, or one year, and these 2 elderly ladies came up and said, "Oh, do you have a trail map?" That's when we realized there were hiking trails through the woods, and he let people hike. And apparently he did have trail maps. But we said, "No, there's no trail maps, or we don't know about them." And they said, "Oh, well, I guess we'll find our way." And they went off into the woods.
Oh no.
And then like 5 seconds later, we found the trail maps and realized we had just sent those 2 elderly women out into the forest to die. Which
Their time.
was interesting because that evening, as we were sitting around the fire, we heard coyotes in the woods.
That was their transformation story.
Yeah, I actually didn't like, by the way, this just tells me how disconnected some of you are from reality. Because we're sitting around the fire and the coyotes are howling in the woods, and somebody goes, "Wow, that's an amazing sound effect." And I look and I go, "Those are coyotes." Do you think we went out there and set up a speaker? No, those are actually coyotes. Oh, I'm like, yeah.
Where do we register?
Basement Con hasn't been held for a little while. We are still trying to decide if we will be holding another one because you need to understand we're all friends.
This is currently our website. I'm not kidding. This is basementcon.com. That's the con website.
We will, by the way, Outlaws at the time said we are holding our one. We don't know where or when yet. Like I said, it is held whenever the fuck we feel like it. And you said, how do you register? That's the fun part. We don't tell you how. You have to figure it the fuck out.
We cannot describe how difficult we make this convention for you. On the other hand, we cook a bunch of homemade food, so if you make it there, you're gonna get food poisoned. I'm a good cook, I'm not a great cook. All right, guys, we are about done here. Before we go, and I just want to thank all my panelists. Let's hear it for Lord Pandas, Souvenir, Betty, and of course the amazing Boozy Badger.
Some guy called Akali and Boozy.
Guys, we're gonna flip over this room to get over to. We're gonna flip over this room to get over to Charity Who's Line. Line is anyway. If you want to stick around, please feel free. This is our chance to have some fun up here, raise some money for charity, and play some improv games. And of course, if you ever see myself, Boozy, usually Pandas, and Akali, we have submitted this panel. There are so many stories, and this is just us rambling. Sometimes you'll hear new ones, sometimes you'll hear old ones, but none of that matters. Join staff and make your own stories. It is worth it. Thank you very much for being here. See you at Whose Line Is It Anyway in 2 minutes. And good night.
Please come forward and tell us how to correctly move your camera away. Thank you.